I'm Yaniv Price, a software engineering leader, coach, consultant, and the author of Fixing Management. Welcome to Fixing Management, the podcast that gives actionable guidance on becoming a more effective leader. In today's episode, I want to tackle a difficult and notorious topic: toxic workplaces. We've all heard the term, heard from friends, maybe even endured a few. But what really defines a toxic workplace? And more importantly, what can you do when you spot one? Whether you lead or you're part of the team. Whether you manage teams or you're building your own leadership muscle, this episode can help you see toxic patterns more clearly and give you tools to avoid or mitigate them. What is a toxic workplace? Of course, the term toxic doesn't refer to literal poison, but to an environment that's harmful in pervasive, insidious ways, affecting trust, respect, dignity, and mental safety. A workplace can be great in some aspects, like strategy, product, and growth, and yet be deeply toxic in others, especially when it fails on human respect, clarity, fairness, and culture. Toxicity doesn't always look dramatic. Often it builds slowly over time with small but repeated signals. It may be consistent, intermittent, or even toxic just for you, personally, a mismatch of values, expectations, or behavior. Toxicity is not just about poor management or bad moments. It's about ongoing systemic and behavioral problems that degrade people, performance, and trust. Here are many of the warning signs you should watch out for. Dread before work. You can't sleep well or you hate Mondays. Work feels heavy, anxiety-inducing, draining. You may have even Googled toxic workplace. Chronic stress, fear, self-preservation mode. People avoid asking questions, avoid making mistakes, hide errors, or don't speak up to avoid being judged or punished. Arbitrariness, short unrealistic deadlines, unpredictable behavior, lack of transparency and clarity about goals or decisions. Blame culture or public humiliation. Punishments instead of learning. Favoritism, inconsistent rules, people getting responsibility taken away regardless of performance. Micromanagement. Leaders telling exactly what, when, and how to do things, then redoing the work themselves as a sign they don't trust the team. High turnover, absenteeism, burnout, people leaving because of disrespect, hostility, or inability to live with the culture. Relational dynamics, gossip, backstabbing, competition instead of collaboration, lack of support or reciprocity when you help others. Situations where there is no team, only individuals optimizing their own survival, no collaboration, no mutual help. Psychological safety missing. Discrimination, lack of inclusion, unfair treatment on grounds of identity, race, age, gender, disability, orientation, weight, or using culture as a weapon, not as shared values. If you observe a significant number of these signs, especially in patterns, don't brush them off as bad days. You may well be dealing with a toxic workplace. Toxic workplaces have a heavy price, both human and organizational. According to research by Dr. Donald Saul and Charles Saul, when people quit, the cost of replacing them can be as high as twice their annual salary. Beyond financial cost, people become disengaged, underperform, collaborate less, since trust is broken. Burnout, absenteeism, stress-related illness, mental and physical health suffer. Organizational performance degrades. Once trust is gone, innovation stalls, risk-taking disappears, and people stop going above and beyond. In effect, toxicity doesn't just make people miserable. It destroys the team's ability to perform long-term, to grow, to create value. If you recognize toxicity in your workplace, here are paths you can take. 1. Try to change the culture only if you have real influence. If you are part of leadership, identify toxic patterns rigorously, not just as difficult people, but systemic dysfunction. Use transparency, consistent behavior, one-on-ones, feedback, coaching, and delegation. Model respect, fairness, and clarity. Oftentimes, toxicity starts at the higher levels, when there is dispute or confusion about the company values, strategy, and personal aspirations. You may be in a position to drive alignment. But don't fool yourself. If toxicity is widespread, and leadership is uninterested, change is unlikely. 2. Plan quietly to leave when ready. If toxicity is systemic and unsolvable, gently prepare your exit. Update your CV, build options, and network. Don't rage quit, and don't wait until burnout or health breaks you. 3. Short-term coping. If you're stuck for now, protect yourself. Set boundaries, mentally separate work from identity, limit exposure to toxic individuals, and get support outside work, family, friends, and hobbies. 4. If you're a manager, build a safe subculture. Even in a toxic org, you can lead by example. Hold honest one-on-one, give meaningful feedback, delegate responsibly, build trust inside your team. You won't cure the whole organization, but maybe you will save your team. If you lead teams or plan to, you need to know that culture is not temporary. It's not nice to have. It's the foundation for trust, engagement, performance, and stability. If you don't set culture deliberately, it's like a ship without a sailor that is taken by the currents of the sea. A healthy workplace is built intentionally, daily, slowly, with discipline. Toxicity often creeps in because leaders assume people will manage themselves. But people don't, without clarity, fairness, empathy, and purpose, and protect themselves to survive. That's it for today. Thanks for listening and keep fixing management. If you found this helpful, share it with another manager.